Good evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, September 23rd regular City Council meeting. D. Stiles Elliott, our City Clerk, would you please call roll?
Mayor Benjamin.
Present.
Councilmember Delira.
Here.
Councilmember Fajarin.
Here.
Councilmember Guido.
Here.
Councilmember Parks.
Here.
Councilmember Weller.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
Councilmember Wright requested to be excused tonight. She wasn't able to attend. I'd entertain that motion.
Move to excuse.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Moving on, the next item is Mayor's community announcements. We have outdoor irrigation season ends on September 30th. Please remember that hand watering while physically present is the only allowable method of outdoor watering outside the established irrigation season. For the dumpster survey, if you live or work somewhere in Pullman with the dumpster, please take the dumpster lid management and stormwater awareness survey to help us assess how much the community knows about dumpster management and its impact on our stormwater system. The 3 to 5 minute survey is available at pullman-wa.gov/dumpster survey, all one word. Celebrate Fire Prevention Week with the Pullman Fire Department the first full week of October. This year's theme is Charge into Fire Safety, lithium-ion batteries in your home. Learn all about it at fpw.org. Pullman Parks and Recreation system maintenance, registration system maintenance, will be undergoing maintenance this week for the following times: Wednesday, September 24th from 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., Sunday, September 28th from 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Activity registration won't be available during those hours. The Pullman Aquatic Center will be closed for swim meets on Saturday, October 4th from noon to 6, and Thursday, October 16th from 3:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. For Neal Public Library, they have a movie night challenge for adults. Watch movies through the whole month of October for a chance to win a prize. Pick up a movie challenge calendar at Neal Public Library or download one at pullman-wa.gov/media challenge, all one word. Also at the library, come to a garden talk Tuesday on October 7th at 1 p.m. at the Neal Public Library to learn design theory for planting and celebrating native plants in your landscape. This garden talk will be presented by Kathy Sprout of the WSU Master Gardener and Landscape Architecture graduate. To see listings of other community events, visit the city's tourism page at visitpullman.com/events. Continuing on with announcements, Chief Bashir's, we have an update on related to the shooting incident that happened this last weekend. With that, Chief Bashir's.
Good evening. As most of you are aware, or may not be aware, there was a shooting in the early Sunday morning here in Pullman. The victim was shot in the abdomen, but is expected to recover. I would like to thank the officers with the Pullman Police Department and the community for providing some information to help identify the suspect. The police officers who responded that night, I'd like to give a special thanks out to them, the graveyard shift in particular. Very difficult situation dealing with a shooting like this, and they acted very professionally and did an excellent initial response in order to obtain information. Our detectives, Detective Sergeant Chris Engel and Detective Ryan McNanny, took that initial information and were able to turn that into very good leads and able to identify that suspect. I can announced that suspect has been taken into custody today in Seattle, and he'll be awaiting transport back to Whitman County to make his initial appearance.
Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you.
I definitely appreciate, and I'm sure as a council we appreciate all the work that our police department does for our community and for the safety of our community. Thank you.
We have some great police officers here, and I guess I can't emphasize and say that enough. Very professional and just do excellent work.
Great. Thank you. Next agenda item is non-agenda related community comments. This agenda item is the first of two opportunities during this meeting for the public to bring comments to the attention of the elected officials. Specifically, this item is reserved for public comment, concerns, or other information not related to a previous public hearing or final action item on this agenda. Final action items include confirmation of appointment, consent agenda, and regular agenda. This agenda item for comments will not exceed 30 minutes in total. Comments are to be directed to the mayor or the council as a body. No comment should be directed to an individual council member. Is there anyone that would like to provide non-agenda related community comments? Looks like we have one, at least one. So please go ahead.
Good evening, Bobby Ryder with Downtown Pullman Association. I'm going to read my statement because I have a lot to say. There is a need for tools to help downtown Pullman rebuild. An empty building ordinance is one of those tools the DPA needs that enables the community to have input about what to do about the vacancies that are hurting downtown Pullman as our city as a whole. Not including Gladish, I can think of at least 11 vacancies in our downtown. And that's a problem in our downtown that essentially only has 8 blocks, 4 on Main and 4 on Grand. Some of the vacancies have fallen into disrepair with broken windows that are covered over with plywood. This is unattractive and sends the message that our downtown is not doing well. So why would anyone want to invest in our downtown? That image is a problem. If a building owner cannot afford to maintain their building, there should be consequences. A successful downtown requires investment in its buildings. People want to be part of something that is happening. Hoarding buildings and running them into the ground works against the entire Pullman community. Restoring buildings so that the exterior character is preserved is what needs to happen with our older buildings. Adaptive interior reuse is great. Exteriorly, the character of an Art Deco building, however, should be maintained. Investing in our downtown historic structures is the best way to keep our downtown a Main Street city, which allows us to bring B&O tax credits back into our community. Business owners can send their B&O taxes to Olympia, or they can keep them working for us at the local level through the Downtown Pullman Association Main Street program. I urge this council to find a way to require accountability to help provide incentives to fill vacant buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to provide comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to city council member comments. And with that, I'll start with Councilmember Fajer.
Thank you. 2 related comments. First off, I just want to thank everybody who has provided feedback and comments around short-term rentals, especially business owners and short-term rental owners themselves. I did commit to proposing a motion for possibly the planning committee to take a look at it. I want to thank staff for meeting with me today. We are still crafting that language, and we'll have an update by next council on October 14th. Thank you.
Councilmember Parks.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I just want to thank Bobby and the DPA, of which I am a city council representative on the board, for all the work that the board has done, Bobby has done, the president, Judy, of the board has done to achieve the Main Street designation, and thereby we have so many benefits now that we didn't have before, and the B&O tax program is one of them. So we've really gained traction and are getting bigger and better, so I want to acknowledge that. And secondly, Alternatives of Violence of the Palouse is having one of their fundraisers, their semi-annual fundraiser, this Saturday at Mary Sellers on September 27th from noon to 3. There's no cost to come and enjoy. We will have silent auctions, raffles, and appetizers. And Mary Sellers is at 1300 Northeast Henley Court, and all proceeds will support survivors on the Palouse. Thank you.
Councilmember Guido.
No comment.
Councilmember Weller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was trying to write this out because I'm working on my brevity. It's a challenge. I wanted to say, first of all, the Pullman To Go and Gather was such a huge success. So thank you, Mayor Benjamin. Thank you, Megan Farron, staff, volunteers, Downtown Pullman Association, Chamber. Timber, DJ Goldfinger. There were so many people involved, and it was awesome to see. And then the Whitman Recovery Community Center had an event as well going on at the same time. So that was so cool to see all of that synergy going on in the downtown. So I wanted to say, first of all, thank you for that. And also I wanted to address something. So last meeting, there were some disagreements that happened, and people saw it. It's, under the bridge. We're moving forward. I had the opportunity to talk to the mayor, and Thad and I talked, and I think what's really important for all of us to remember, disagreements don't have to be disagreeable. And I think all of us agree in the importance and the betterment of the city of Pullman. We all approach it from different ways. And I think one thing that really came across, and I let Thad know this, is it's a good gut check to be able to understand, and this is for us as a council. I can only speak for myself, so myself as a council member and any future council members coming in. We must be supportive of our staff, period. And RJ, thank you so much for standing up there. You took your time. You were cool and calm under pressure. It was an hour, and I appreciate your work. Same with Ariel. I appreciate what you both and all the staff is doing. I think it's important for all of us to understand we must support our staff. These faces up here, the elected officials, they will change. But what we want to do is to have the staff remain where they are, to continue to move us forward. And in my opinion, and this is just an opinion, the city can go on without us elected officials. We speak for the citizens, and that's important. We have a role. But the city only functions because of the staff. And so I appreciate everything they've done. I appreciate that we were able to disagree without being disagreeable, and let's continue moving forward. So just wanted to mention that.
Councilmember DeLira?
No comment.
As for mayor's comments, I would like to, in addition to the community table, thank Councilmember Fajarin and Councilmember DeLira, who were on the team with me that worked on this. They were definitely a very strong part of the team and made it go well. The second thing is I really do appreciate that our electeds really care about the community. They want to see our community thrive. They want to see our community grow, and there's a passion that's involved, and I think that's, each one of us has a passion. So I think that's great. Continuing on, we have. Next one is City Council regular agenda item requests. Is there anyone who has a request for any future agenda items? Councilmember Weller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I have two. I've written them down, so they'll be shorter. The first is really on event parking. So last meeting, the council heard from the Pullman Presbyterian Church regarding event parking on their lawn. Currently, we have a parking restriction on lawns. However, during football games, this is a low priority for police enforcement. However, it's not in writing. There are some concerns about this, and I had the opportunity to talk with Christy and Pastor Matt. So if you're watching, thank you. Regarding this issue, we came to an agreement that finding a solution by creating a parking variance or some clarification in the code, I would leave that up to staff, would be a possible solution. I propose to explore an event parking solution for a future topic and would be grateful for a second.
Okay, is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay, so that would be to propose for looking for solutions to the event parking.
Yes, sir.
Is there, so I'm just checking with Sean, you have enough information from staff related to this?
Just to clarify, you're asking staff to come back with possible solutions for event parking of a large scale, such as Wazoo football games, possibly graduation. I don't want to
Yeah.
put words in your mouth, but that's what we had talked about in the past.
Yeah, I appreciate you reading between the lines, yes.
Okay, I think we can do this.
Are you agreeable with that? Okay, great. Okay, and your second one?
The second one is regarding public communication strategy. So since before the downtown project, the council expressed the importance of improving communications with the community. This subject continues to be an interest, and my interest, especially since learning and explaining several weeks ago that other Washington cities are involved in providing links on their websites to certain community organizations and notices of community events through social media. I know Megan already has a lot on her plate, so I don't want to create more burden, but I'd like to understand our current communication strategy and future directions. I would like this to be brought up as a future topic. I believe it would help inform current and future council members along with the community. And I would, again, appreciate a second if that interest is shared.
Okay, is there a second related to that?
Second.
For that, and I'm looking to our city administrator, so Sean, timing-wise, because there's a lot of work involved in order to put this together.
There is. This is part of one of my goals is to come up and develop with council and staff a citywide communications plan that would engage all forms of communication, whether that was written, electronic, digital, both internal and external. And so that's something in my docket right now, in my work plan. We'll be working with council on that in the future. So that will be coming back. I don't have a time on that right now, but loud and clear, heard.
So it's probably at least a month out, at least, before you're to that
With
point.
any discussions, yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm just so that you're in that you're not expecting the next meeting or two. Okay.
No
Okay.
rush.
Great,
you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any other council members that would like a future agenda item? Okay. Next up is community comments on final action items on this agenda. This agenda item is the second of two opportunities during this meeting for the public to bring comments to the attention of elected officials on any agenda item that the city council will take final action on this meeting, excluding items where public comment was previously accepted. Final action items include confirmation appointments, consent agenda items, and regular agenda items. The agenda item for comments will not exceed 30 minutes in total. Comments should be directed to the mayor, the city council as a body. No comments should be directed to an individual council member. Is there anyone who'd like to provide community comments on final action items? Seeing none, we will then move on to our first item, that is confirmation appointments before the council. You have two names before you, Mark Anderson to be appointed to the Arts Commission, and Katie Wallen for appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission. And with that, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the appointment of Mark Anderson to the Arts Commission and Katie Wallen to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Second.
With that, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. And just a reminder, we still have a few openings on different committees and commissions if someone is interested in being involved in that. Next up is presentations, and with that, we have Ariel Mendoza for our assistant planner in order to give a periodic update overview related to the comp plan.
Well, there we go. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, City Council. So yeah, as Mayor Benjamin said, my name is Ariel. I'm an assistant planner with Community Development, and we're going to go over what a periodic update is and how community development is going to kind of spend the next 2 years. So a little bit of background. In 1990, Washington State established the Growth Management Act, and so that is a series of state laws that tell cities and counties how they're going to guide growth, protect critical areas, and kind of provide economic development for the area. There are 2 pathways in the Growth Management Act. You are either a fully planning jurisdiction or a partially planning jurisdiction. Fully planning jurisdictions are the fastest growing, have hit certain population thresholds, or they opted in 1990 to be fully planning. To be fully planning, you have to have a minimum county population of 100,000 people. Whitman County is at just under 50,000, so we're almost halfway to that threshold. And we don't have a growing population where we would be considered fully planning, and we didn't opt in. So we are what is partially planning. So we don't have to do nearly as much as a Seattle or Spokane does for our periodic update. But what do we have to do? We have to look at our comprehensive plan. Since we have one, we have to maintain that it is updated with current state laws, any new guidance that is coming out from state departments, updating our critical area ordinance, and then since there has been some state laws, we'll be doing a couple slight things to the zoning code. And if more state laws get passed next year that we have to comply with, we'll incorporate those where needed. So what is a comprehensive plan? I know you all have looked at it at some point, but it is the blueprint that guides growth and development within the city. The comprehensive plan has a vision, goals, policies, and it guides all the implementation of all 17 titles of the city code. It fulfills our planning responsibilities under RCW 35A, so a lot of people know the Growth Management Act as RCW 3670A. We have to follow 35A since we are partially planning. And it's our framework for all of our other planning requirements, such as our critical areas ordinance. So what is our critical areas ordinance? That is how we designate and classify our ecologically sensitive and hazardous areas, and then from that, we have a responsibility to protect those areas and their functions and values. So within the city, we have wetlands, fish and wildlife habitat conservation areas, aquifer recharge areas, frequently flooded areas or floodplains, and geologically hazardous areas, so areas that are prone to landslide or erosion. Just based off of state definitions, we don't have anything that is considered natural resource lands. So that's agriculture that is of statewide significance. Just based off of the definition, we don't have any since it's within our urban growth area. We don't have any active mining operations, and we don't have forest areas that are economic producing. So we don't have any current timber going on that builds economy. Magpie Forest doesn't meet that. No income is generated from it. So what are the goals of a periodic update? Our biggest goal is public participation. We want to make sure everyone is involved at some point in this. It is a community document. Yes, we as the city are the ones who put it together, but it is how the community of the city of Pullman goes through 20 years of growth. So my goal is making sure everyone who wants to be a part of this has that opportunity to be a part of it. And then our state mandated requirements and goals, updating our critical area ordinance, updating our comprehensive plan, and updating our zoning code. We're breaking out into phases, as any good plan does. So for phase 1, that is just the review of our current documents with what the state says we should be doing and getting the community input on how they feel the comprehensive plan should be updated. Phase 2 is the actual amendment process, so actually going through and doing all the updates and changes. And then phase 3 is our legislative process, so that's our public hearing and adoption. So for phase 1, the main thing, community outreach, making sure everyone knows what's going on, when things are happening, when they can be involved. We'll do plan and regulation review. We've started that, going through all state guidance, all the new laws and legislation that's came out, and just seeing what needs to be updated. The state says it needs to be updated, and then doing kind of that to start with. Internal coordination is working with our department heads and city management, just making sure everyone understands what this update is for their departments and how they can be involved. Our general plan and critical area meetings, that is meeting with the public, city commissions, boards, committees, just making sure everyone understands what a periodic update is and what the comprehensive plan is. Not many people have to get into it. That's my job to be in it every day, but just making sure that everyone understands what it is. And then we'll get into the actual visioning meeting. So that's where we're gonna be meeting on all the hills, online, at City Hall, just seeing where is Pullman succeeding, where are we kind of lacking, how are we gonna solve all our problems. I'm not gonna expect much from the critical area update during these meetings. I would love to talk about it. I have a degree in environmental science, so it's one of my passions, but I have sent it out to some of the consultants who have done work within the city for them to review it and just make sure nothing is kind of onerous on them and is also working for Eastern Washington. And that gets us into phase 2. And so once again, community outreach, making sure people know where we're gonna be, how to get involved, how to reach us. We'll have the actual meetings where we talk about this is what was said during visioning, this is how we've updated it. And Commerce will do a preliminary review. They do ask for 60 days for all of their reviews, and they'll kind of go through and make sure we've hit all the big things. And then they'll give us comments if something is missing. We'll have time to update it when we finalize both the comprehensive plan and the critical areas ordinance. And that gets us into the legislative process. So we'll prepare ordinances and resolutions for our public hearings and adoption. We'll do our environmental checklist review, so we do have to do one by the state. We'll file our formal notice of intent, so that is when Commerce will do the fine-tooth cover-to-cover review and make sure we have everything. They have some checklists, so we should have everything ready, but, you know, we're human. We could miss something. We'll start our public hearings at this time before Planning Commission. That is the last formal comment period that we will have, and when changes can be made from the community. And then once we get to City Council, no more formal comments can be taken. And so that's kind of the final document that will get adopted if there's no additional changes from the council. We'll do presentations, we'll break out each chapter, take it as it is, and then have the formal adoption once we've gone through all of it. So there's a lot of guidance. This is only a handful of the many, many ones that we are going through. But Commerce has a lot of the documents that actually have kind of the meat of what we'll be updating. So they have their periodic update process for partially planning jurisdictions, and then the checklist that says you'll talk about this, and then you say on this page we did that. They have the same thing for the critical areas. Here's what you should be talking about, and then the checklist that says we talked about best available science on page 34. Ecology also has some wetland guidance that we're following. Fish and Wildlife has some additional guidance, and then all the various RCWs and WACs that we're making sure we're still in alignment with. So we made a public participation plan, which was a part of the packet tonight. So we're gonna have in-person and online meetings, open houses, one on every hill, one at City Hall, an online one every month. We're gonna be breaking apart the comprehensive plan so each element gets its own month to be talked about. So we'll start with land use in November, all the way through capital facilities, and then same thing for the amendments. We'll start with land use and then go through capital facilities, just giving each element its own time to be talked about. Stakeholder meetings, as far as I'm concerned, anyone who wants to be a part of this process is a stakeholder. It is a community document, so everyone in the community is a stakeholder, whether they know it or not. Our boards, commissions, and committees, making sure that they are involved in this process. As our committees, commissions, and boards, they have a different viewpoint than a lot of staff does because that's their passion, and so it's nice to get theirs. We, as of right now, they're kind of short, but we do have 10 surveys that we're going to be publishing. We kind of break it out into different main topics, and so if someone wants to really talk about housing, we have a housing survey. If they want to talk transportation, we have a transportation one. And then we have an email list. If you go on the website under the Comprehensive Plan Periodic Update webpage, you can sign up for that. Nothing has been sent out yet. We're getting kind of that first ready to go send out for our October events. So that, I think people have signed up. People have said they've signed up, so hopefully we'll get a lot of emails out. And then our actual timeline for things. So staff review of our comprehensive plan and critical area ordinance started really in July. We did a little bit kind of in March, but it kicked off in July. And we're expecting that to go through October. Internal coordination and our kickoff meetings, those are happening this month through next month. And we'll get into visioning and discussion meetings November through March. So as I said, we're gonna take each of the elements or chapters each month. So November will be land use, community design and housing are kind of short, so they'll get lumped together in December. And we'll end with capital facilities in March. And we're doing that as a way to make sure that everything can get talked about, but we also have time to make those amendments and we don't have to try to do it all at once. So kind of going in phase 2, so April of 26, we'll start land use again and go through that same process of every month having a new element that we talk about. If someone wants to talk land use in March, we'll listen. It might not be ready for those April meetings, but we'll reconnect with whoever we talked with to make sure that the amendments that we're making are in line with what their comment was. And then we'll also submit for the preliminary review in April at this time, just making sure we're hitting all the big things for commerce. We'll finalize the drafts September to October. I'm not, just in case, Commerce can take some time, so we do want to make sure that we're giving them the extra time if they do need it. Our SEPA review, we're going to do it early, so we're looking at April of 2026 to start that process. It can take some time. It starts with a city review and then goes through an ecology review and appeal process, so we want to make sure we have plenty of time to get the environmental checklist done. We'll prepare ordinances and resolutions September of 26. We'll file our notice of intent through Commerce November of 2026 and start public hearings at that time, and those will go concurrently. I'm hoping 3 months is enough time for the public hearing, but we did kind of buffer that with having February through March of 2027 be council presentations, so we can go into that with planning commission public hearings if we need to. And then formal adoption has to be done by June of 2027. We're looking at a mid-June adoption right now. If we finish early, we can always bump that up, but we do have to have everything sent to the Department of Commerce by June 30th of 2027. And with that, I can take any questions.
Any questions for Ariel? Councilmember Weller.
Ariel, less of a question, more of a comment. This is a huge lift. And I know many citizens have been looking forward to this for a very long time. So I just wanted to say I appreciate it, and I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of feedback. So thank you so much for taking this on, and RJ as well there. Thank you.
Councilmember Fajarin.
Thank you, Raul. Thank you as well. I love the public participation plan, even if it's 2 years out and it's really comprehensive. So like Councilmember Weller said, I know a lot of our community members are looking forward to share their input. Just one question that I have, outside of the public participation plan, how can council best support this process? Yeah, that would be my question for you.
If people have questions, sending them our way, kind of as you see things, just sharing it out. We are hoping to get flyers made, so if you have places that we'll put flyers up outside of just going around and asking if we can put it in windows. That'd be great, but just, staying up to date with the process as well. And then if people have questions, you can say, oh, well, the next meeting is this date.
Okay, looks good. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item is the consent agenda. The items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted by a single motion by the City Council without separate discussion. To entertain a motion to read the consent agenda by title only.
So move.
Second.
With that, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That, if you could read the consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 1 is a motion to dispense with the reading of the September 9, 2025 meeting minutes and approve them as submitted. Item 2, a motion to accept the Pullman City Cemetery Expansion 2024 contract as complete. Item 3, a motion to accept the City of Pullman WWTP WAS Thickening Improvements Project contract as complete. Item 4, a motion to accept Orchard Drive and Valley Road resurfacing contract as complete. Item 5, a motion to ratify change order number 1 to the citywide safety improvement project contract. Item 6, a motion setting October 14, 2025 as the date to hold a public hearing to consider the 6-year transit development plan for 2025 through 2030 and the 2024 Transit Annual Report for the City of Pullman. Item 7 is a motion to set a public hearing on 2026 revenue sources with a date of October 14, 2025. Item 8, a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks number 2011 31916 through 2011 32042, totaling $874,940.29. Item 9, a motion to authorize a temporary facility use agreement with Pullman Disposal for charging of a single electric truck for 1 week at Pullman Transit. And finally, item 10, resolution number R-39-25, a resolution accepting the 2025 Pullman Parks Recreation and Open Space Plan for the City of Pullman.
So do any council member desire to have any items removed from the consent agenda? I'm actually going to pull 10, just because there were some updates made since it was first published, just so you're aware of those. But is there any other items you'd like removed? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Mayor, point of clarification, number 10 is the Parks Pros Plan?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. So with that, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 9.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And with that, we'll move to number 10, and with that, Kurt Damon, and he can explain the corrections that happened.
Great.
Or the updates.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, members of council. Yeah, late this afternoon, the city clerk uploaded a current document. We had caught on Friday a few minor edits throughout the document that somewhere along the line we corrected, but those pages, when they submitted the final document to us, those changes were not corrected. So I just wanted to point out, there was one on page 5, a trail map that we had some edits to, and that were cleaned up a little bit. On page 6, there was some park acreage that was corrected, along with the Pullman City Cemetery name was missing. And then on page 96, there was a total maintenance cost for the recreation, senior center, and aquatics that changed. And as we changed those total maintenance costs, it also changed a few figures on pages 96 through 100. They were all kind of minor edits, but I just did want to point those out, as it was kind of late this afternoon that document was uploaded.
And we wanted to make sure to bring that in case any of the council members had looked at it earlier on and hadn't, and before this update had been made. Any questions of Kurt related to this? If not, I'd entertain then a motion
Mayor?
for approving
Mayor? Just one more thing.
yes, please.
I just want to take this opportunity, one, to thank council for their support of this project and undertaken by the department through the CIP process. This was the first time we've ever went out through a third party to do this, and it was a big lift, and I think we ended up getting a very good document that will take us through the next 10 years that we'll currently use for those years, and update in another 5. So thank you for your support of that. And then also to the community, the focus groups that we worked with that gave us input through various meetings and surveys. It was very much appreciated. Sometimes some of those comments are hard to swallow, but it's great to have another point of view, and we look forward to working with the different groups and community going forward. So thank you, Mayor.
Great, thank you very much for your work. With that, I'd entertain a motion to approve Resolution R3925, resolution adopting the 2025 Pullman Parks Recreation and Open Space Plan for the City of Pullman.
So moved.
Second.
With that, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. On to our regular agenda. The first one up, Resolution R40-25. And with this, we have Jeff Albrecht, our Director of Finance and Administrative Services. And, you got out of the role of interim city administrator. You shouldn't have had any items on this agenda, so you could have stayed home.
Yeah,
so,
I
but
told
thank you-
Sean, unfortunately,
Thank you
I
for-
think I'm on the agenda for the rest of the year for
And
something.
with finance,
so.
you are. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Council. What before you is Resolution 4025, and just to give you a little bit of background, so I think everyone's aware of the pending sale of the Pullman Aquatic and Fitness Center to Schweitzer. It is anticipated that sale will close sometime in October. We did an extension with the school district to operate the facility through the sale, again, which will probably happen sometimes next month, in order to help ease the transition for the community, ease the transition for Schweitzer. We've been in discussion with them for a while about continuing operations of the facility through December 31st. That allows them to kind of get their feet wet, develop what they need to do to operate that going forward. So what this agreement is an agreement between us and Schweitzer. Basically, we're going to operate the facility pretty much the way we have been now. So we'll continue to do those operations through December 31st, and then on January 1st, they can take over operations. This should ensure a smooth transition for the city, SEL for the school district, and most importantly, the community and the members of that facility. So the terms are very similar to how we're operating now. It will be a little bit of an additional expense for the city, but SEL is going to share in that expense, and that they're going to start picking up utilities the day they close. So they'll share in some of those expenses that'll happen. So this is basically an agreement for that interim period from whenever the sale is complete through December 31st.
So with that, any questions of Jeff? Councilmember Weller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, there's no real questions. It's just, Jeff, I appreciate you working on this. SEL, wow. I mean, who can have a better partner in the community than we do? So I'm very glad to see that this is moving forward. And, you know, this is really huge. So thank you, Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories. Thank you to our staff for working on this. School district, so yeah, it's a great thing. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? If not, then I'd entertain a motion.
Move to adopt Resolution R-40-25.
Second.
With that, if you could read the resolution, please.
Resolution number R-40-25, a resolution authorizing the execution of an operation, maintenance, and pool use agreement between Schweitzer Aquatic Center, LLC, and the City of Pullman.
With that, any discussion? Councilmember DeLira?
SCL is my employer, so I'll be abstaining from this vote.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstain?
Abstain.
Motion passes. On to item number 2, and once again, Jeff?
Yeah, so this is a very related item. So again, as our agreement with the school district expires when they sell, we need an agreement to provide them access and services for swim team practices through the end of the year. So because we'll be operating the facility fully, we'll be providing those services for them even after the point of sale through December 31st. So this is basically a very simple agreement that allows the school team, the school district to use the pool for the swim team and their activities through the end of the year. And basically they'll pay the exact same rate they've been paying up to date to use that. So no change in the cost, just needs to formalize that agreement since the school district would no longer be the owner of the facility.
With that, any questions of Jeff? Seeing none, I entertain a motion.
Move to approve Pullman School District number 267 usage of the Aquatic Center through December 2025.
Is there a second?
Second.
With that, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Jeff. The next item up is a discussion item, and this is related to vacant commercial spaces. And Councilmember Fajarin, you're the one that requested this item, so I'd let you start out the conversation with this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Patience and grace as I try to help lead the conversation with my fellow council members. I initially requested this item because last year council was discussing vacant building ordinance. Thank you to RJ and his team for putting together a couple of examples for us to consider. And I think that was in June, and we left June without action, with the expectation that there was going to be another entity, whether it be DPA or chamber, that will be able to take up the responsibility or something regarding vacant buildings. And it's been a year, and nothing concrete has formalized, which is why I requested this as an agenda item. By the end of this discussion, I hope to have an idea if it's the council's, lack of a better word, will, or if there's an appetite for pursuing another vacant building ordinance. There have been some recent developments since last year, including Medical Lake passing their own vacant building ordinance. It was pretty aggressive, and there's been some developments on there that I'm actually going to have staff explain because I'm probably not going to explain it correctly. So I hope by the end of this discussion, we can decide as a council if we want to move forward with one. We heard that from the DPA executive director that a vacant building ordinance would be an awesome tool to have in filling those buildings. And that is why I brought this up for discussion. How does that sound moving forward for this discussion?
So, conversations. Who?
Well, before we move on, I do want to talk about medical lake. There's been, they have their own vacant building ordinance they passed in January, and could either Thad or Sean kind of explain the recent developments?
Sure. So I haven't seen it specifically, but my understanding is, or I mean, I've seen the ordinance, sorry. There was talk that there was some litigation happening over their vacant building ordinance. However, that litigation is really just a contested infraction hearing where the court found that the party had committed the infraction. So there was no challenge to the legality of the ordinance itself. There hasn't been any cases that have gone up challenging the ordinance, and I don't believe there's any pending or threatened at this point. So we don't have any direction from a higher court telling us whether or not it will withstand any scrutiny. So that's all we have.
Thank you. I'm just going to repeat back in my own words because I feel like this is an extremely important point for our community and for council. So there wasn't a challenge to the code, the ordinance code. It was just, this is the ordinance that we have, and the party was failing to abide by it.
Thank you, Eric. Yes, that's much better.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to say
Similar to a parking ticket,
Yeah.
and you go to the court and you challenge your parking ticket. It's a similar process. The judge looks at the parking ticket and the information in front of the judge, and then compares it to the city code and says, you either committed the violation or you didn't. So thank you.
I appreciate that explanation. So kind of, last thing before I give the mic over. The issue that I had with the ordinance that we were talking about last year was that it was very punitive. There was words in there like beautification. There were standards in that ordinance and code that could be interpreted differently by different parties. And I feel personally that that leaves a certain level of risk for us as a city. Whether we're comfortable moving forward with that risk, I would appreciate input on. So any thoughts with my fellow council members?
So thoughts? Councilmember Weller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Eric, thank you again for bringing this up. We've heard about this issue, I don't know, for at least since Laura was in Thad's position, and I know her opinion way back was that it would open us up for litigation, and there was some risk to it. Thad, with this newer development, can you give some of your opinions?
I'm a little reluctant, believe it or not, to provide legal advice in open meeting. I did review the Medical Lake ordinance and do see some of the same potential pitfalls. But I just found out about this on Friday afternoon, so I haven't really spent a lot of time with it.
Okay. Thank you, Thad, for that. Well, I mean, we keep sitting on it, or, we take a risk, and I know it's Thad's job to make sure that, we're protected, so there's a certain amount of risk aversity, but it's also our job to be able to say, can we move the needle? As has been mentioned many times, how do we say yes? I'm getting risk averse in my older years, but I'm also understanding that this is something that is a, issue. So I would say we try it, but I'm, gotta let other council members.
And this is really, do we come back and and have meetings where we discuss it, is what we're talking about. Councilmember DeLira?
This feels like a really naive question, but let's say we do get sued based off of the ordinance. How expensive could it be for the city? And then is it a fair question to ask for a ballpark dollar amount?
I would say at this time, Thad can't answer those questions. I mean, that's not a fair question to ask him, but.
I would say a starting point is $100,000. So whether or not there'd be insurance coverage or not, I can't answer that at this point, but, and I haven't litigated for a couple of years, but usually $100,000 is basically to just get rolling. So it would be in excess of $100,000.
Councilmember Parks?
Thank you. Well, as I've said all along, I think it is necessary to have some sort of standard for our commercial buildings, just as we do for our residential buildings. I mean, if I have broken windows in my home or a lot of trash in the yard or something like that, I have to comply with the existing code. And I know the point was made, I watched the recordings, that we do have code for safety and healthy, protecting the public from hazard, there's the word. But I'm talking more about just blight. As Bobby from the DPA said, what sort of image does that give our downtown? We all complain, or we hear complaints about there's nothing downtown, which we all know is not true. But anything that we can do, even just the messaging that if you don't take care of your building and your space, then you're going to, there have to be standards. I guess that's how I look at it, what's the bar that we're at right now? Well, we don't have one. So I just think it would be good to, and I haven't looked at the medical lake ordinance, but I will, and I know the mayor, so I can speak with her as well. But I just would like some sort of middle ground, not to be so afraid of litigation, but also not to be so strict that the enforcement is an issue. So I think it's a good thing to revisit.
Councilmember Fajarin? Oh, sorry.
Did you?
I'm actually Councilmember Guido first.
Yeah, I mean, 3 years ago, downtown was one of the reasons why I decided to run for city council, and felt like, do something was kind of my mantra. And I totally appreciate the risk piece of it as it relates to litigation, and it's a real balance, but I think the time has come that we need to relook at this, and whether you want to put it under say yes or get to yes, or whether we want to say that absentee landlords and owners need to be held responsible. I would put it under all of those things, and that we need to pay attention to the economic vitality of the downtown, and this is a missing piece. And it is a tool, so I would be supportive of relooking at this.
Councilmember Fajarin?
Thank you. I didn't want to end conversation, but I appreciate all the responses. I wanted to thank Councilmember Parks for bringing up. We do have a blight code, which is kind of our standard for how a building can be condemned, and standards regarding that. I'll just kind of end it saying, last year we received many different pieces for how we can construct a vacant building ordinance. I'm on MSRC right now, and they list 5 other cities that have one. So there's so much that we can do. We just need to find out what's right for Pullman, which is what I'm hearing, is we want to maybe find a middle ground, find something that fits Pullman. So thank you for the feedback. I think I'll work with staff and other council members. Is there any council member, I know we can only have 2, that would be willing to work directly with me on this? Thank you.
No.
Nathan? Okay, thank you. I think we'll, sorry, you were to say something.
So it sounds like what you'd like to do is work on something to bring back. There's no direction to staff for staff to do any work at this point.
At this time.
At this time, but definitely have meetings with our city administrator, Sean Wells, related to it. Sean, is there any additional clarification be helpful for you?
Just wanted to get a clarification on the council members that just raised their fingers because I wasn't looking. Nathan and Ann, thank you.
Yeah. And, okay. With that, we're moving right along. Now we're going to move into executive session. This time, City Council will adjourn to executive session pursuant to RCW 4230-110-1I to discuss with legal counsel representing the city matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or member acting in official capacity is a party when public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency. The executive session is expected to last approximately 5 minutes. If it will be necessary to extend the executive session, someone will return to announce the anticipated additional time. The council does anticipate taking action following the executive session. It's 6:26, so we'll start at 6:28. It's 6:33. I'm bringing council back into session, and with that, I'd entertain, first of all, a motion.
Move to authorize the city attorney to submit the documents to resolve the Larson case.
Second.
With that, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And with that, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.